Hello, and welcome to Partnership Lake Houston's Candidate Forum for the Humble ISD Trustee Election. This candidate interview event is a project of Partnership Lake Houston's Public Affairs Committee. Today's interviews are being produced by DNA Studios. I'm Erica Johnston, Public Affairs Chair for Partnership Lake Houston, and I will be your host today. Before we get started with our candidate interviews, I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone of voting dates, times, and locations. Early voting dates and times are Tuesday, April 19th through Saturday, April 24th from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Sunday, April 26th from 12 p.m. until 7 p.m. Monday, April 26th from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. and Tuesday, April 27th from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Polling locations in the Lake Houston area include the Humble Civic Center, Lake Houston Church of Christ, and the Kingwood Community Center. Both the Humble Civic Center and Kingwood Community Center offer drive-through voting. Election day is Saturday, May 1st from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. Polling locations can be found at harrisvotes.com. Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 4, Marques Holmes. Marques, thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So Marques, tell us, what prompted your decision to run for school board this term?
Sure. It's all about legacy for me. So over the course of the last 20 years, I've been a youth pastor, youth minister. Me and my wife, we own a music company where we offer classical voice and piano lessons. It always has, trailed back to the kids. But it's more about legacy than just for my own children, but how can I create a better environment, create that foundation for success for all children. So again, it's about legacy and understanding that if you have great administration in Humble ISD, great teachers, great parents, you set up just a strong foundation for your children to be successful, and that's why.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, what you can do to affect the outcome.
Sure. The most pressing thing right now is, of course, the pandemic and the dual learning environments. Humble ISD, in my opinion, has done a phenomenal job in being nimble enough to flip the switch and go to dual learning environments. I think it was since last March of 2020. Again, done a phenomenal job. However, being in the education arena, especially from a technology perspective for quite a long time for my career, I understand that there's some gaps that we're going to have to shore up in terms of that technology divide, our teachers getting the professional development if they are going to be doing dual learning or online learning. We have to figure that out and help them, as well as help our teachers and students. So technology-wise, internet, these are the things that we have to think about that I think are very important that we need to be addressing pretty urgently.
What do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
Dovetail off that last answer, it's in making sure our teachers have whatever they need to be successful. Workforce preparedness can be looked at in different ways. From my background, are we talking about from an intelligence perspective, right? Making sure our administration knows what needs to be done in an environment, again, dual learning, our teachers, our staff, and also I think this is where sometimes it can be a miss in terms of communication. I think we've done a phenomenal job, Humble ISD, of alerting parents what's going on, but I really do think that when we let our parents know of the professional development that's going on with our teachers, with our students, the staff, it really helps them, be at ease in understanding that, we're making the investment. And that's where I think in terms of workforce preparedness, that's where we are. I've talked to some teachers, and that's where they think that there can be a little bit more rigor because they're wanting more. We have some phenomenal teachers here, and they just want more of that professional development.
What business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Sure. So from a financial perspective, during the course of my career, I've managed over at some points $120 million book of business scattered across sometimes not just the country but the globe. Manage people. So I believe in leadership. Huge John Maxwell fan, but I'm also part of his coaching team. So I'm certified in that. Again, big on leadership. And if you want to drive it home in terms of putting that into practice, for about a year and a half at my son's elementary, I was teaching growth mindset, which is a leadership curriculum that was, again, approved by the principal and a few of the teachers. So again, big on leadership, big on how to overcome adversity. So if we look at other things that I've done, I've been in the technology space. I have a degree in electrical engineering, so I've been in the scholastic space. I understand it. So I think I can bring those pieces to the mix to add value. But if we want to also add from an intelligence perspective, industry experience as well, I had some time working in the intelligence industry from a medical and security standpoint. So when we talk about security and safety, two ways to look at that as well, from a cyber security perspective, making sure our school is safe from a technology perspective, but also I've done training on workplace violence, active shooter training. These are things that we do unfortunately have to look at. So I think those are, again, a broad set of skills that I think can add value.
Well, those are all the questions we have for you today.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Marques, for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Go out there and vote.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 4, Lonnie Jackson. Lonnie, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Lonnie, tell us what prompted you to run for school board this term.
Well, as an educator and community servant, I've always had a desire to play a significant role in the academic program and the overall success of student success. Clearly now, one of the reasons I'm running now because we don't have an incumbent for this position. And with my background working in the community, reflective of my career. I'm an educator by career, and I've always had a desire to be engaged and involved in the community. That being reflected by me being as a PTO officer at Summer Creek High School, participating in the carnivals at Fall Creek Elementary, and at Wood Creek working concession stands. And I think I feel I bring a different perspective to that position and like the opportunity to share it with the people of Humble ISD.
Describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
Well, clearly we're all concerned about the COVID-19 pandemic we have going, and that's something that we have to work through, follow these guidelines and see what we can do to adjust to that. Clearly I'm concerned also about the fact that Humble ISD as a community is growing, making sure that we have the staff and the support people we need to accommodate to the growth that we have with the new housing, apartments. And that's something I'm really concerned with, making sure that we have in place the staff that we need to be able to serve and professionally serve our students in a professional manner.
What do you feel the district's role is in workforce preparedness?
Well, I think workforce preparedness from the district is underrated. I think it's vitally important in regards to the district being part of that program. I think that we need to make sure that we hire, retain, and train. We need to make, in my perspective, we need to make sure we're hiring the staff that's reflective of the students and to be able to relate to the students, and make sure that we train and make sure that we remind the teachers the important role they have in educating our students. I think it's a vitally important role.
What business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
I've been in business owner for over 40 years. Currently, I'm an elected official for Water Control Improvement District number 96 in Fall Creek. I've been an administrator in education as principal, and with my experience in working as a businessman, working in the community, and my leadership skills I have not only on the high school level, also as a college professor, adjunct professor at Youth Community College, make me definitely a strong candidate for this position.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 4, Janie Branham. Janie, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Oh, well, thank you for having me here, Erica.
So, Janie, tell us what prompted you to run for school board this term.
Oh, well, Erica, this is an exciting opportunity for me. I have 2 students in Humble ISD schools. They've been attending Humble ISD since the 1st grade. I want to create the best school district there is. Of course, the school district exists for one purpose and one purpose only, is to produce productive citizens for the workforce. I have 27 years of teaching experience. I have been a teacher, a parental involvement specialist, a business manager, and I have worked for superintendents as well. I have been extremely involved in the community, raising money for nonprofits, for the school district, and for the military, for veterans. In addition to that, I was chosen as Woman of Achievement by Family Time Crisis and Counseling Center for my advocacy efforts. In addition to that, I've done a lot of community work for Second Baptist Church. I've been teaching Awana, 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade Awana Bible study for the students. So I am the best qualified candidate in position 4.
So describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how can you affect the outcome?
The most urgent issue now is COVID-19 pandemic. It has really hurt our children emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and academically. It has been extremely devastating for them, especially because there was a loss. Some of their parents lost their jobs. They have lost loved ones to COVID-19. And then the routine, the school routine has been interrupted. That has been extremely effective, it's been affecting them. And then in addition to that, the school district has had to train teachers very quickly with virtual learning. Virtual learning is good for everybody. However, the students need to have good technology at home in order for it to work. But the school district has done an awesome job in responding to the pandemic. We need more resources for virtual learning. I am advocating for a virtual learning academy for next year, allocating additional resources to our teachers and for materials as well.
So what do you feel the district's role is in workforce preparedness?
Oh, well, actually, we do exist to prepare students for the workforce. We have to have well-educated, well-rounded students. One of the things that we need to continue to do the most is continue to talk to the businesses. Let the businesses tell us what the needs are. And as a school district, it is our responsibility to prepare the children for the workforce.
So what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Yes. Well, thanks to Partnership Lake Houston, I was trained to be a leader. I did take the Lake Houston Leadership Academy, and I did graduate from that. In addition to that, I have 27 years of experience in teaching. Also, I do have a consulting business. My husband and I have a consulting business. We do statistical analysis and also political redistricting at the state, county, and school board level. In addition to that, I have a television. I used to have a television business school partnership show where I was the host, and I raised millions and millions of dollars for Title I schools. So I did have approximately 120 businesses that followed me for about 11 years. And so I'm still doing community work. I'm still involved with being an officer for PTO, PTA at the elementary, middle school, and high school. So I am the best qualified candidate in position 4 to take on the responsibility of being school board trustee.
Well, that is all the questions we have. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today, Janie.
Well, thank you, Erica.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee Position 4, Kenneth Kirchhofer. Ken, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Ken, tell us what prompted your decision to run for school board this term.
School board. I was approached in early 2020 by some prominent government, local officials, my pastor at my church, and some concerned school parents. I said at first, wow, this is a big ask. I've got a great life. I run the Toscasita Golf Club. Things are good. Both my children went all the way through Humble ISD, and now are in the workplace. After much prayer and discussion and meeting with some former board members and current board members, we decided to run for one of the open positions, position 4, in the spring of 2021.
Describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD, and as a trustee, how you can affect the outcome.
Okay. I believe that the school board, Dr. Fagan and the administration did a great job with COVID in visual learning. Bullying is the most, for me, over the last couple months, once I got home from my injury and was able to start talking and visiting with parents, bullying has become prominent, and it's a huge problem. If I'm voted in to the school board position, I'll work with the current board and Dr. Fagan to have a policy in place that might not eliminate bullying, but it's got to curb it. Just last week at one of the high schools, a boy was beaten severely, and we've got to protect the kids. We have to protect the kids, and I believe bullying, it's got to stop. We've got to curb it.
What do you feel the district's role is in workforce preparedness?
Well, visual learning's here to stay. There's no doubt about it. I think we've got to differentiate how our teachers teach remotely and in-person learning, face-to-face learning. I think we need to continue to educate all teachers on this process, and visual learning's, it's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to grow. And
what business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
Over the last 6 years, I've been fortunate enough to hire and attract great employees, and we have revitalized the club that I'm at Tasita Golf Club. We have embraced the community, and we have Summer Creek High School that comes there, Atascocita High School. Every day there's 60, 70 kids at our place. It's the Walt Disney experience. Our employees love coming to work. You get the same treatment at 9 o'clock as you do at 2 o'clock. We need to take care of our teachers. We've got great teachers in the school district. Both my kids went there. What a great place for the kids to go to school. We need to attract more. 122 days ago, I fell on the back of my head and I broke my neck. I have a titanium plate, C2 to C6 in here. I've got hinges, I've got screws, I've got a rod in here. Never once did I waver. I announced that I was running last fall, and laying in a hospital bed for 32 plus days, the community rallied around me, our faith, my family. I'll never quit on the kids. Please vote for me, position 4, Ken Kirchhofer.
Well, that's all the questions we have for you today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Joining us now is candidate for Humble ISD Trustee, Position 4, Chase Stevens.
Hi.
Chase, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Chase, tell us what prompted your decision to run for school board this term.
So I decided to run for school board this term. I guess a couple of different reasons, but I have 2 kids in the district, 2 young kids in the district, both attending a school here in the 1st and 2nd grade. So I kind of felt it was my duty to sort of serve my children, but not also serve my children, also serve my community, to ensure that, our community kids have a quality place to gather in education, right? So we have 45,000 plus students in the district, and I'm very passionate about ensuring that each one of these students has an opportunity to excel within our school districts, and whenever they finish through our districts, that they graduate and they are competent and confident to take the next step in their life, whether that be higher education or going right into the workforce.
Describe what you see as the most urgent issue facing Humble ISD and how, as a trustee, you can affect the outcome.
So I think looking at it from my perspective and sort of my background, the most pressing urgent issue that Humble ISD has is to ensure that the tax money, the tax revenue, the bond revenue, federal grant revenue is being allocated across the district to each school equally, and focused on areas that need improvement. So what I'll do is focus on the budgeting, ensure that the schools that need additional fundings to sort of increase certain programs or certain areas to focus on deficient areas. So that's something that I'm certainly going to be driving for to kind of grow our district into the best that it can be.
What do you feel is the district's role in workforce preparedness?
So with any school district, I guess really with any district in general, but with any school district the size of Humble ISD, not every student is looking to go to a higher education institution after high school. So I feel that it's very important that the schools focus on the kids that don't want to, that want to go straight into the workforce by providing, trade type programs, or like the CTE programs that our schools are doing right now, which are very, very successful. So it's important that these students who choose to go straight into the workforce, like I mentioned earlier, when they leave school, that they are competent to enter the workforce in our community, and they're confident to go in there and be successful.
What business experience and skills, prior board experience, leadership skills, and/or community involvement will be an asset to you as a trustee?
So I've spent the last 14 years of my career in the oil and gas industry, and over the last 7 years, I have weathered many downturns, and through that, I've sort of understood how a business can thrive in sort of a downturn, what levers you need to pull. I'm going to use that experience to focus on ensuring that the tax revenue, the bond revenue, the federal grant revenue is being allocated and used properly to essentially make our district as strong as possible for our students. On top of that, the last 2 years, I've attended almost every single board meeting. Through that, I've followed every single initiative, the projects we're working on, been sort of involved in speaking to the current board members as well as the administrative staff. So I feel that sort of experience that I've gained in the last 2 years will sort of help me go in, from day one and be influential on the board, and be able to work with the current members as well as the administrative staff.
That's all the questions we have for you today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Chase, for joining us.
Well, thank you so much.